Hello, Dylan. You are up next, sir.
Hey there, how's it going, Bart?
Good. How's it going? And where are you playing out of, Dylan?
I'm playing at the Oceans 11 Casino here in
Oceans
the San Diego.
11 in San Diego. I have been there many a time. And do they still sometimes play Big O there and stuff?
They do. They have
Mhm.
a couple pretty interesting games here. They have a Big O game. They have a 10-20 limit game, limit hold'em game that runs, which is kind of surprising.
10
And then they
20, 10
also
20 limit hold'em?
yeah,
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. With like a
and then
$5
they
chips, like little two,
yep,
4 chip structure, like death.
yeah.
Like slow death. The only thing would probably be worth would be like 10 20, like Omaha High Low as a split
And
pot
then
game.
they also have a double board game, which is really interesting, it's a double board half-half game, which is half double board PLO bomb pots and half double board Big O bomb pots.
Wait a minute. Half PLO bomb pots, double board bomb
Uh-huh.
pots,
Yep.
and half Big O double board bomb pots.
Yeah,
So, and that's just the whole game. It's just a bomb pot game the whole time.
that's it. Yeah.
So the thing about that though is that like you don't need to play double board Big O bomb pots. It can be a single board because it's already a split pot game. So do they chop the pot up in four for the
In
Big O?
four, yeah.
Oh,
I didn't believe it either.
Yeah.
I specifically asked the dealers, I was like, so that means it's like a double board PLO and then a single board Big O, right? And they said, no, they play two boards.
That's
with
how
five
it
cards.
should be. Now, I
Yeah.
will say though, I've played it, and I'm going to bring up one of my favorite apps, Poker Geek, Odds Pro, because when I went to San Antonio and played these double board Big O bomb pots, I think it was at SA Card House where they would chop it in quarters, which I thought was, I mean, it's okay. But then we also played Ultimate, which is a very interesting game. I loved it, but I think for some of the recreational players, it's hard. And so I've seen rec players think that they're getting screwed and they walk away. Ultimate is when you play like a Big O double board bomb pot, but the pot is only chopped into two, not into four. The best overall possible high and the best overall possible low. It's called Ultimate. And the reason why rec players walk away from that game is because they can't get through their head that like, for the high side, the best example of this would be like if you had like ace 6 of diamonds for the nut flush on one board, right? And it's the nuts on that board, no board pairs. But then on the other board, someone's got queen jack of clubs in their hand, and the board has the ace of clubs, king of clubs, club. The guy with the queen jack in his hand beats your ace 6 of diamonds because you're using all 5 cards. And it's the same thing that happens with the low too. Someone might have ace deuce and they realize, oh, that's not the best possible low on both boards. You got to play all 5 cards. The reason why I bring that up with Poker Geek is because he actually has a calculator. Poker Geek Odds Pro actually has a ultimate calculator, which I've never seen before in the app. I don't know how prevalent that game is, but I think if you're going to play Big O double board, it should be either be ultimate, or they should just do single board because it's already a split pot game, you know? But anyways.
Yeah. You might be right that it was ultimate. The dealer that I was asking didn't really quite know how it worked.
Well, if it was ultimate though, it wouldn't be chopped into quarters. It would be chopped into 2. So
yeah, he just said all he knew is that everybody had 5 cards and there were 2 boards.
Okay.
So
well, if it's ultimate, I'll ask my buddy Jake, who is in San Diego, if he knows. All right. So, but you're playing No Limit, right?
Yep, I'm playing No Limit 2-5 with a straddle.
So 2-5, No Limit plus 10. By the way, too, of course, Poker Geek's Odds Pro, not just ultimate. It does Hold'em, it does PLO, it does Big O, it does 4-card PLO 8. Check it out because you can download it for free. You don't even have to pay for any of the in-app services. It will do, I think it does Hold'em and PLO High and Big O all for free as a poker app calculator. Like it's a calculator. And I was looking for a calculator during some of the 10Ks at the WSOP this past summer because I was looking for PLO 8 4-card because there was nothing out there. And I found this and I was like, wow, this thing is amazing. You can check it out. And then if you say that you learned about the app from me, which is the first question when you pop on there, I think there's a significant discount off of the yearly plan. So here you're playing 2-5 plus 10, no limit. And how deep are you?
I am 1100 effective with the button.
Okay.
And I am 900 effective with the small blind, who are the two main villains in this hand. I also will say this game has not been straddled a whole ton while I was here.
Okay.
So yeah, there's that. To start the action off, we got the +1 limps, hijack limps, and I'm in the cutoff with Jack 10 of clubs.
Yep.
And I decide to ISO it up to $60.
All right. So limp, you go to 60. And you did add, which I think is pretty important information, that it's not an always straddle game, because that will definitely affect. If it's just occasionally straddle, people play it a little bit differently. They tend to play a little bit more passive because the pots are bigger, I find. It's just weird. If you're playing a game that's got just maybe one guy straddling, I see guys limp more marginal hands that they would have raised without the straddle, which is so counterintuitive and makes absolutely no sense when you think about it, right? Because there's more dead money out there, but they just will. So I guess my point is that sometimes guys will actually end up with slightly stronger limp ranges than you would actually expect in a quote unquote occasional straddle game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if this is permanently straddled and we have two guys limp and I have like 10-9, 9-8 suited, I'm going to ISO. Mm-hmm. But with this, like half the time, I might just overlimp like my lower suited connector hands. But of course, Jack 10 suited just a little bit too strong.
Okay, so you go to 60.
The button calls, and then the small blind, who is on the shorter side, right? He 3-bets to 155.
So the button off of 900, 3-bets to 155. Okay.
No, button calls.
Oh, excuse me. The small blind off of 900, 3-bets to 155. Yep.
Folds back around to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not entirely sure about this. Like, if I'm on the button and it's just a heads up, I think this is a really easy call.
Oh, yeah, because you have that button behind you here, right?
Yeah, the button's behind. We're not super deep with the small blind.
So, I mean, it's kind of like the pot's like almost 300 and it's like 95 for you to call, something like that. Yeah. But then you've got this guy behind you. So this is the whole little bit of, not a paradox, but, you know, you get better pot odds the more multi-way it goes, but it's harder to realize in this spot. Obviously, like 4-betting would, I think, kind of burn. It's a really, actually, you know what? Like, isn't this kind of a very small 3-bet?
It's a very, very small 3-bet.
Yeah.
And I mean, just in case this helps at all. So the button is kind of like your average 2-5 fish, pretty on the loose passive side. I know if I call, the button's probably going to call behind me a whole bunch.
Well, I was going to say, like, this is so small that one of the things that you do know is that you will get the guy to call. Like, if the small blind had gone to like 4x and you guys were deeper, sometimes you can get away with calling here in the middle because the guy behind you will fold.
Yeah.
If you call, this guy's going to call. You're going to be in the middle because he already called 60, right? So knowing that, and by the way, knowing that, we already talked about you're getting 3-1. Actually, you're going to almost get more like 4-1 because you know the guy's going to call behind you. So I would rather take 3-1 heads up than 4-1 three ways. That's my whole point. But you're going to be at 4-1 in the middle. I still think Jack 10 suited is kind of probably too good to fold. Maybe like you fold out like King 10 suited and Queen 10 suited. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that kind of close?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'd rather play, of course, don't want to get into I'd rather have when I actually just have a hand, but I'd rather play like Jack 10 suited or even 10-9 suited than like King 10 suited, just because it's a little bit less dominated by the small blind 3-bet.
So did you call?
I did call, and of course, button calls behind.
So now the pot is pot is going to be 460, like 490-ish or something, 500, something like that.
495 is what I have it at.
Okay.
And so we get the Jack of Spades, the 10 of Hearts, and the 9 of Clubs.
Whoa. Another one, if you guys have been listening to the live stream. So you flop top 2.
Flop top 2.
We had a live stream. We had a hand before on this live stream where a guy flopped top 2 out of the straddle on 4-3 deuce. This is a little bit different because there's probably going to be, I would say, more straights represented in a spot like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and a lot more 2 pairs. Yep. All right. So Jack 10-9. Okay.
Small blind bets 120.
So small blind, the pre-flop 3-better, bets 120. By the way, I will say, this actually might be a situation. Now, in multi-way, it's hard to sort of sim these spots. But if you had just opened, I actually think I used this exact example last hand. If you opened from the cutoff And the small blind in a 3-blind configuration in this hand was playing 3-bet or fold and 3-bet, and you called. I would think this is probably a candidate of a check 100 if people were asking me from the small blind's perspective. It wouldn't surprise me, theoretically, small blind versus cutoff, if it's a check 100 spot at a certain stack depth, right? You guys aren't, well, you're 100 BBs, I guess, because it's really, you're 1100 effect. Well, let's say that you guys had like at least 150 big blinds. I'm going to caveat that to 200 big blinds. It wouldn't surprise me if this flop gets checked a lot. As you get shallower, things differ. He's a little bit shallow. He took really small 3-bet sizing pre, and now the weird thing here is like, I feel like maybe if he's going to bet, wouldn't you check sometimes and then just bet large other times? I don't know off of this stack depth and this board.
I think if he's trying to play like some fundamentally sound strategy, I think it's a lot of checks. You're totally right. Yeah. But it's also probably a lot of small bets as well, just because I have a really big nut advantage here.
Right. I'm saying once he gets to, but if he gets into a situation where I'm talking about being very shallow, like where he's going to just get it in. I mean, he's starting the flop with only like 1.5 SPRs, right? So,
no, for sure.
So once you get into that like weird thing where you bet this small, like what is that? You see what I'm saying? Like it doesn't accomplish a whole lot. I think it's kind of equivalent to if you had 1 SPR, like literally just 1 SPR, I suppose you can go quarter pot all in as like a 2-street game. I guess like if the pot was 500, you want 125 call, the pot would be 750 as a 2-street game. But I mean, he's against 3 people. I feel like you'd want to deny. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to price people in. If I had a hand that I want to go with here, I wouldn't want to like dink and dunk with like aces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you kind of just want to maximize against like Queen Jack, right?
It's just kind of weird. But all right, so he bets 120.
And what do you think I should do here? I have a player behind who I think is on the fishier side. The small blind, I'd also probably say, is kind of on the tighter side. And it's top 2, but this is not like the nuts here by any means.
Button is behind you. It's so awkward because of your stack sizes. I just think I would tend. I mean, put it this way: if you were heads up, you would just always raise, get it in, right, against the small blind.
Always, for sure. Always, then I'm easily
right. So I think your hand needs a little bit of protection too, or protection / value in terms of action killing cards. Here's what I would say. I mean, if I was in a situation, this is actually a textbook case. It's going to be weird with these stack sizes. If you were deeper, and we were in this exact same scenario, and you were deeper with the button, or say like all stacks were deeper, I think this would be a really, really good example of a proper raise fold for value against the button. And what I mean by that is you got this guy betting out as a C bet, you raise, and then if the button 3-bets you, you fold.
Easily, very comfortably.
People are like, well, why do you do that? You're just way ahead, way behind. No, it's not. You're going to get in with a small blind, but once this other guy 3-bets. So, but here with your stack sizes, it's really hard to do that, right? Like if you go to 300 here, can you raise? It's the button starts the flop with 950. So if the small blind bets 120 and you go to like 350 and then the button jams for 950 and let's say the small blind folds 1450, that's what, 2,000.
Oh, I'm totally pot committed, right?
Well, you get 2,000, 6,600 for you to call. Yeah, that's the awkward part of that. What if you made it smaller? What if you made it like 300? So small blind bets 120, you make it 300, button jams for 950, small blind folds. Now 420 plus 950 is what, 1370? Now it's like 1870. Still like 650 for you to call, getting 3-1. Yeah, it's very awkward.
Yeah. I decided, because this board is so connected and the small blind is still betting into 2 players, I decided to just call here. And I guess I'm not going to say yet whether or not I'm glad I did, but the button now raises behind me to 355.
So hero calls. By the way, if there's no room, just to go back to what I was saying, if there's no room to raise fold, and I see some people shouting this in the chat, then probably the play is to just jam if you wanted to raise, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you were deeper. So you decide to call, and now the button makes it 355.
Yeah. Very small raise. Very, very small raise.
And then what does the small blind do?
Small blind folds, which
Okay.
I was somewhat surprised by because it's such a small raise, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just has like kind of air that he's one and done c betting here, which wouldn't make sense on this board, but I see lots of people do it.
It gets into an interesting scenario though. Like if the small blind jammed, I think you're ahead of the small blind a lot. He's going to have equity. He's going to have equity like with having like queens, kings, or aces. But there's more money going into the pot. So now all of a sudden, like, yeah, your equity would probably goes down a little bit three ways, but you're still ahead of that guy. And now all of a sudden there's more money in the pot. So usually when you think about like a multi-way scenario, you'd be like, well, if the small blind jams, like how am I think you're still good against the small blind. He might just be going with it, but your hand might go down overall. I think it's probably close. Now he folds. Okay, button raise to 355. Now, your option obviously is to, well, you've got all three options again, right? You can fold, call, or just re-raise back in right over the top, which would be like a back jam. I mean, if you call, let's look at the other one that might be non-standard. If you call 700, 820, the pot's going to be like 1320, 1320, and then you guys will have what, like 600 left. I don't know if calling is an option because it's going to be like less than a half pot size bet. Again, it's almost the same thing as last hand. You're going to be out of position. I don't like calling with less than a half pot size bet from out of position on a board where almost everything's going to change. Like, what are you going to do? Right?
What would you do if you think that this guy might have some bluffs that he's like lower equity bluffs that he's going with? What if he has a hand like 9-8 that he's making this play with for some reason?
Well, does that mean that he's going to call?
That's what I'm saying. If you jam on the flop, does 9-8 call?
Well, I mean, it probably shouldn't, on a bottom end straight but like, what if he has queen jack? Probably queen jack probably has to call. Right?
Yeah, right.
I thought you were going to say, well, what if he's got like an airball bluff and I can call and get him to bluff off the rest of his stack on the turn? I just don't think that that's the actual reality of the situation. This is probably going to be a fold or a 3-bet jam.
You think it's a fold or back jam?
Because if you call, again, if I'm doing the math right, you're putting in 820 here on the flop. So that's going to be 1320 in the total pot. And you're going to have like 600 left, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, and again, you're out of position. That's the issue. Like if you were in position and you faced a check raise like this, I can get on board with calling in position, seeing what the turn card is, seeing how the guy reacts to it with about a half pot size bet left. But out of position, it's just really rough because then you're playing a stop and go. You're going to play a stop and go against like non-straightening cards, like a deuce. Say you call and the turn's a deuce and you check and he checks it back, or he jams on the turn. What did you do?
So I decided the worst of those three options then. I decided to just call here. So playing this hand very passively so far, which is not something that I'm typically doing.
I think this also, I mean, I'm not saying that you said that this was the case, but this will also cut out the fact that this guy will really have bluffs once you call. It's not like it's even necessarily a flush draw board. So you call 710, 830. So it's like 1325. The pot is 1325 if I'm doing this right. And I think you guys have like, like 600, a little bit less than 600, right?
Yeah. So I call and the turn is the ace of hearts.
So the turn is the ace of hearts. And that's kind of
a brick, right?
Right. I mean, it's kind of a break in the sense of it's probably not going to improve what he would be raising with on the flop unless he was somehow raising with like ace jack or something. That would suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he was raising with like ace jack. So, but again, like here you go, like you're faced with this situation where it's like, all right, well, now you're here. What's the best thing to do? Is it to, if you're going to call anyways, do you just deny him the ability to check behind now?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
That's why it's so strange, right? Like that's why it's so strange because if you check and he moves in and you're gonna call, then and there's no bluff really, then the only reason to do that would be if you're trying to like induce you're against a maniac, and which doesn't really sound like the spot. But it sounds to me like you check though.
I check, and that was the strange part about this spot is I kind of knew that this guy was fishy, right? I knew he was probably more on the splashy side, but I hadn't tagged him as like a maniac.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm against a maniac, this line is good. This is a kind of basically just playing trappy versus somebody who's going to read weakness and lose their mind.
So does he shove all in?
He moves on for $600. I found it in Fast Roll. It's exactly $600.
So you're getting over 3-1. I mean, once you get here like this, I don't think the whole reason why you got here was because you thought you were ahead, I think, on the flop plus your equity. But now I get, it seems a little bit non-logical to think that you're going to fold now, unless you're just so, I guess you could make a case that you were like, well, my call to his raise is so strong. And we will talk about this. It's like a kind of a variation of Fifth Street Chicken. My call to his raise on the flop is so strong that I can safely fold if he bets again on a later street, because my call will decrease his bluffing frequency so much that he's no longer bluffing if he bets. And if I'm behind, I have a little equity with Jack 10. I suppose you could make that argument, but sometimes, it doesn't line up.
Yeah.
Did you think about folding?
Well, so I posted this hand in the Discord server, and there were a couple guys who kind of went with your point, saying there aren't really bluffs here. I think you just have to let this one go. And the reason I don't agree with that is because I think I still beat some value. I think
what value do you beat?
If he has 10-9 or Jack-9, those are both hands that might kind of just decide I'm going with it.
Oh, 10-9 or Jack. Oh, you mean a lesser two pair on the flop?
Yeah, right.
10-9 or Jack-9, yeah, maybe.
And I'm not worried about this guy having jacks or tens, because I think he's kind of action enough that he's 3-betting those mostly, and maybe nines is around. So I decide to call.
But again, though, I mean, you got to look at the combinations, though. Here's the problem. The inherent problem is that if this guy is going to like call with like king, queen off, like a bunch, and then we told you he's not folding once that guy makes that small 3-bet, that's a full 16 combos.
Yeah.
10-9 and Jack-9, when you hold Jack-10 of clubs, we can do it out. There's not many combos. Like there might be like two like 3 to 4. Yeah. Two, depending on the distribution of suits, 4 at the most, sometimes even less than that. So, you really start to, go down the weeds, but hero calls, and what happens? River?
We get the 6 of spades on the river, so nothing changes.
Yeah, that nothing changes. Okay.
And he tables the 8 of spades and the 6 of diamonds.
Wow, just a bottom end open ender?
Yeah, 8 of 6 offsuit.
Spades, 6 of diamonds. Oh my.
No. Yeah. 8 of spades, 6 of diamonds. 8-6 offsuit.
Right. Wow.
Double flatting from the button.
That's
skipping it.
Wild. That is wild. So button has 8-6 offsuit for a bottom end straight draw. That very well might not be good if the top end comes in. It would be in this case. That is wild stuff. And again, I don't want to think that we're results oriented because we've got 2 of these calls. Don't be results oriented, that's for sure. But
sure.
I mean, that's the whole thing here too, where I don't know. I mean, I would immediately tag this guy as a bad player if you didn't know that already. The fact that you call the flop should decrease his bluffing frequency. I guess maybe an ace isn't a terrible card to make this play if he doesn't think that you've got king, queen, and you might have some 2-pair types of holdings like Jack 10, 9, 10, and the ace might get you to fold sometimes. But wow, that is crazy.
Yeah. My thoughts on this kind of afterwards were I think I agree. I should either just ship it on the flop, like maybe raise the initial bet. Oh, sorry, that's one more thing. The small blind after the hand said he folded aces.
He said he folded aces.
Yeah. So, and I trust him because he was very upset about the ace on the turn. So there's that.
That's that's really interesting because you might say that he used such small sizing. He puts himself in a really weird spot. He bets 120 and a 500. You call, and now the button makes this little pipsqueak type of raise. and then you just fold aces there. I mean, I guess maybe, but I mean, you continue with like kings or queens, but fold aces because it doesn't have the kings or queens is probably better to have.
Yeah,
there
right.
than
Queens
aces.
is the best overpair to have here, I guess.
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting one. Thank you.
It was the bizarre one for sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it.
Yep.